Good morning. Today we are going to discuss Chapter 3 of Indian Economic Development Textbook. Today's topic is India during 1947-1990. In this module, we are going to discuss about Indian agriculture, its role and importance. Agriculture in India during 1950 and 1990. Indian economy is usually described as an agriculture economy. Agriculture plays a vital role in the Indian economy. Over 70% of rural households depends on agriculture. Agriculture is an important sector of Indian economy as it contributes about 17% to the total GDP, and it provides employment to over 60% of the total population. Role and importance of agriculture in Indian economy. There are many points which will say about role and importance of agriculture in India. The first one is the contribution of agriculture to national income. From the very beginning, agriculture is contributing a major portion to our national income. In 1950-51, agriculture and allied activities contributed about 59% of total national income. Although the share of agriculture has been declining gradually with the growth of other sectors, but the share still remained very high as compared to that of the developed countries of the world. For example, the share of agriculture has declined to 54% in 1960-61 and 48% in 1970-71, 40% in 1980-81, and then to 18% in 2008-9 period. Whereas in UK and USA, agriculture contributes only 3% to the national income of these countries. Another point of importance of agriculture is it is a source of livelihood. In India, over 2/3 of our working population are engaged directly on agriculture and also similarly depend on their livelihood. According to an estimate, about 66% of our working population is engaged in agriculture at present in comparison to that of 2 to 3% in UK and USA, 6% in France and 7% in Australia. Thus, the employment pattern of our country is very much common to other underdeveloped countries of the world. Source of food grains. Both food grains and fodder are basic and essential commodities for living. Agriculture is the only major source of food supply as it is providing regular supply of food to such a huge size of population in our country. Food requirements of 1.3 billion Indians are also met by the agriculture sector. India is now nearly self-sufficient in food grains, especially in wheat and rice. It has been estimated that about 60% of household consumption is met by agriculture products. Next point is about the contribution to industrial development. Agriculture in India has been the major source of supply of raw material to various important industries in our country. We will call these industries as agro-based industries: cotton, jute, textiles, sugar, vanaspati, edible oil plantation industries. Agro-based cottage industries are also regularly collecting their raw materials directly from agriculture. Agriculture contributes to industrial development in two ways: by providing necessary raw material to the industries and by purchasing the goods produced by the industries. The role of agriculture is very important in India as a source of government revenue. Agriculture is one of the major source of revenue to both the central and state governments of the country. The government is getting a substantial income from rising land revenue, and some other sectors like railway, roadways are also deriving a good part of their income from the movement of agriculture goods. Contribution of this agriculture sector to the total government revenue is quite large. Contribution of agriculture to trade, especially domestic and international trade. Indian agriculture is playing a very important role both in the internal and external trade of the country. Agriculture products like tea, coffee, sugar, tobacco, spices, cashew nuts, etc. are the main items of our exports and constitute about 50% of our total exports. Besides manufactured jute, cotton textiles, and sugar also contribute another 20% of total exports of the country. Thus, nearly 70% of India's exports are originated from agriculture sector. From all points of view, agriculture occupies an important place in our economy. That's why it is said that the growth of Indian economy primarily depends on the growth of agriculture. Now we can see the main features of Indian agriculture. Indian agriculture is typical in nature if you are comparing with other countries' agriculture. Some important features are like this. First of all, the higher dependence on monsoon. In India, if we want for adequate irrigation facilities, Indian farmers mainly depends on rainfall. If rains are good, crops are also good. But if rains are not good, there is a substantial loss of output. That's why it is sometimes called a gamble of monsoon. And also the Indian agriculture is semi-commercial in nature. Agriculture in India is neither fully commercialized nor completely subsistence in nature. It is a mixture of both and hence can be called semi-commercial farming. Commercial farming is one in which production is undertaken primarily for sale in the market. A large part of non-food grains production is marketed in our country. On the other hand, subsistence farming is one where production is meant for self-consumption. Next feature is multiplicity of crops. India produces various kinds of crops. It has become possible because of a large variation in climate and soil conditions in various parts of our country. However, a notable aspect of this multiplicity of crops is the predominance of food crops, which covers nearly 70% of the land cultivation in India. Just like that, our Indian agriculture is having another feature, the predominance of small farmers. We have a substantial number of small and marginal farmers in the country. Moreover, rapidly rising population is leading to subdivision and fragmentation of land holdings in the country. As a result, farmers cultivate tiny pieces of land. Next feature is multiplicity of crops. India produces various kinds of crops. It has become possible because of a large variation in climate and soil conditions in various parts of our country. However, a notable aspect of this multiplicity of crops is the predominance of food crops, which covers nearly 70% of the land cultivation in India. Just like that, our Indian agriculture is having another feature, the predominance of small farmers. We have a substantial number of small and marginal farmers in the country. Moreover, rapidly rising population is leading to subdivision and fragmentation of land holdings in the country. As a result, farmers cultivate tiny pieces of land. One important feature of Indian agriculture is the presence of disguised unemployment. A very important feature of Indian agriculture is the prevalence of widespread disguised and seasonal unemployment in agriculture sector. Because of seasonal nature of agriculture activities, a large number of farmers do not get employment for 4 to 5 months in a year. Similarly, a number of farmers, though working on the field, do not make any additional contribution to production also. This number is fast multiplying because of the rapidly rising population. It also reflects lack of employment opportunities outside agriculture sector. The same way, another feature is the large inequality. There are large inequalities in agriculture sector in India. We find wide disparities in the size of farming, which generate income inequalities among the small and the large farmers. Another typical feature of Indian agriculture is the use of outdated technology. Most of the Indian farmers continue to use outdated, primitive farming techniques. However, modern facilities and techniques of production have also been initiated in certain selected regions of the country, especially by the big farmers. But the majority of Indian farmers depends on traditional, outdated technology. Another feature is about the low level of productivity in agriculture. This is an unfortunate feature of Indian agriculture. In India's agriculture sector, we find that both per hectare productivity and per worker productivity are much below the level of advanced countries. Important revision questions belong to this module are: question number 1, explain the role of agriculture in India. Question number 2, explain the importance of agriculture in Indian economy. Question number 3, what are the main features of Indian agriculture? Question number 4, what may be the reasons for low productivity in Indian agriculture? Question number 5, what do you mean by disguised unemployment? Question number 6, what is the relevance of disguised unemployment in Indian agriculture and its share in GDP?